And welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. Okay, so for me, my two favorite topics are food, of course, and real estate. And within the real estate wheelhouse comes mortgages and loans. And like I've said a million times, if you don't use a professional, it's going to cost you 5 times more, okay, and it's going to give you 10 times more aggravation. With me is Regina Thompson.
Yes.
From Cardinal Financial.
Yes.
Try to get it out in the beginning so I don't forget. That's what happens when you get old. Okay, so I guess you're doing residential loans? Is that what you do?
I do residential lending, so first-time home buyers, purchases, refinances, things of that nature. Help people get into their homes.
How long have you been in the industry or around the industry?
Gosh, for a very long time. 25 plus years now.
So, let me see, you started at 4?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, my uncle owned the company. I went and worked for him as his little tiny toddler assistant and grew from there.
So now, you brought up something. Does family own the company?
I lived in California, so I
okay.
started in my uncle was actually in the mortgage business, and he brought me in and taught me, and I just went from the banking side to the mortgage side, you know, kind of simultaneously.
All right, so clear this up for me, the stupid one, and everybody else who doesn't understand. Mortgage broker, mortgage lender, I mean, what's the differences here?
So you have a mortgage broker who's an independent loan officer who puts the loan out to several different lenders and can get you an approval. They kind of lose a little bit of their control of the file. Then you have your banks who also do lending, and they sometimes are direct and non-direct lender. And then you have the direct lenders that is somebody like me that's at Cardinal Financial, and we're direct lenders for Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, and you know, USDA, all of the different A's that you get in your lending field. And so we work in-house, we process, we underwrite, we fund all the loans ourselves.
So it's more like everything that you do gets done within-house, basically.
Correct, correct.
So it's not like I'm dealing with 16 million people. But and you can explain this to me because I hear this. So I go to you and I get a mortgage. Are all of them sold in a secondary market or something like that?
No. So a lot of brokered loans, well, it depends. So they do house some loans. They keep them in-house, and they have their own, a lot of companies will have their own direct financing. So you would pay Cardinal Financial. Sometimes that's where they sit for a little while. Sometimes they sit there for a long time. Or they package them up and they sell them on the secondary market. We also hear about credit score. Credit.
Okay.
We love credit.
So, in my day, they called credit score, like, this is your beacon score. Now they call it your FICO score.
Correct.
Are they, like, what kind of similar?
So what happens now is it's a tri-merge. So you get your FICO score. You have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And so we pull all 3 now. And that's been happening for quite some time. When you pull all 3, you're going to have a high, a low, and a middle score. And we take that middle score, and that's what we're going to use to price your loan, to find the product that works for you, get you into the home that is going to work with your finances. So having a good credit score is a direct correlation to your interest rate and the type of program that you're going to get for your loan. I
was told that a mortgage loan is like a table. So there's 4 pieces to it, just like a table has 4 legs. So if it's the credit score, the W-2s, whatever else you need, and you have all those pieces in place, the table's going to stand flat, you're going to get your loan, it's going to go good. You take one of those legs away, it's a little wobbly about getting it. You get the other leg away, it's going to be very difficult. You take the other leg away, and you're now getting a loan. Everybody has an opinion. My opinion is Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, to me, they're all crooks because they're privately owned. Okay? So if companies pay to belong to them, then they can report whatever they want. And I know it because I've seen stuff on my credit report that doesn't belong there. So is it important that prior to coming to you that I go through everything that I have loan-wise, credit-wise, and make sure that everything is right?
Okay, so the Consumer Protection Act came into play after the 2008 crash, where people were being misled or giving bad loans based on credit, things that were reporting on their credit report that were not accurate or correct. And this was creating a lot of fraud for the consumer, and they had no recourse. So when you have no recourse, your hands are tied, and you have to take what you want, what they give you, and you feel like you're helpless, because if you want to buy a house, well, I have to take what they give me. So after the 2008 crash, they came in with the Consumer Protection Bureau, came in and mandated that companies report correctly. Okay, so it is for the client's benefit, and they can go online. And I tell my clients, if you're really concerned about credit, you can go to annualcreditreport.com. You're allowed to receive your credit report for free once every 12 months. And here's the good part about it, is that when you can go in and look at it, and you can ask for changes, like this is the date's not reported correctly, or this is statute of limitations has expired, this is an old collection from 10 years ago that they keep selling. So those are things that I tell my clients, these are things you can do yourself to make corrections to improve your credit score. And the thing about it is, with the Consumer Protection Board and going through annualcreditreport.com, the client has control. And so once they make a report, once they find a discrepancy, that creditor has to respond or correct it within 30 days. So there's a time clock, whereas in the past you would send in requests, nobody would respond. It was just kind of out in no man's land. Nobody took ownership of it. And what they did is Consumer Protection Board put a fire under their feet and said, okay, and if you don't respond or fix this in 30 days, then you're going to be fined. So it made them take ownership of what they were reporting. And it also forced them that if they couldn't prove that you actually own that debt, back in the day, things were being sold to creditors and to collection agencies, and they had no documentation to even prove that you took that out. So now the loan has to file to collection agencies. If they don't have a copy of that, not only does it have to be removed permanently, but they can't reflect and they can't sell it again. So it gives the consumer a lot more control over their what their status is. So I tell people, you can do this yourself. These are things that you can do on your own, or we can, I can work with you and we can come up with a plan on getting you on track into home ownership. And that may take, a month, that may take, 6 months. But with having that at your, feet and making your own corrections, they have a 30-day limit. So it forces them, and it allows you to move on with your life and not be in limbo for, 6, 8, 10, 12 months.
And here's what happens. So I went and took out a loan, and TransUnion, Equifax dropped my credit score by 1 point. TransUnion dropped my credit score by 45 points. Okay?
Because you requested your own credit.
Well,
or you got a loan.
I got, yeah.
Okay,
I applied for it. Now, whether I get it or not was really kind of irrelevant at the point, because it wasn't even through, I guess, review. Not that I wouldn't get it, but it wasn't through review. And to see one drop 1 point, one drop 45 points, is kind of weird. And now I read, because I was using Credit Karma. Now I read that Credit Karma is being sued, and I think they have to pay back $3 billion because when you go in Credit Karma, they keep pushing you, hey, you got outstanding chance of getting this loan, that loan, this loan, that loan. So you have to be so careful. Experian has its own. What happened to me was, years ago, I was in hospital, so I had a ton of medical bills. No insurance. And what happened is they ended up going to collections. So a collection agency called me on, I don't know, $1,000 bill that was due. And then B collection put me in collections for the same thing. I had 3 collection bureaus for the same loan, for the same money that was owed. Same creditor. I disputed them, and I got them all gone. Now I hear that if you have a medical bill that's under a certain amount of money, it can't be used. Is that true?
They cannot. Well, they've put a statute of a limitation on actually when they can start reporting it. So there's an amount that never gets reported, which is, I believe it's $100 or less, and larger medical bills are added to your credit report after 6 to 12 months. So they can't just throw it on there real quickly. So then it allows you, but also the standards have changed in credit industry that having a medical collection isn't really held against you as far as getting a loan. It does affect your credit score. However, it doesn't affect you getting a loan.
Okay.
Okay, so it's no longer, you know, there's factors involved in different programs, and Fannie, Freddie, all of them,
I mean,
FHA.
if you had a repossession, that would affect you.
That would affect your ability to get a loan and your credit.
Right.
Okay, those are things. But medical bills, no. So there's a lot more leniency than there was back in the day. Now with Credit Karma, this is what I tell, you know, as a loan officer, people are like, Credit Karma says I'm at 700. Well, Credit Karma is not a credit bureau. Credit Karma, when you sign up for Credit Karma, if you read the fine print, it clearly states on there, we are not a credit bureau. We are a lead generation company. They are strictly advertising for these lenders are paying for the leads. It's lead generation, excuse me. So they're paying, they're not credit reporters. So they're just grabbing information and selectively grabbing information, and that's why they're getting sued, to make your score appear to be higher and appear that you are going to qualify for something that you don't, and that's why they're being sued. They are not a credit company at all. They are purely advertisement.
All right, so you mentioned one earlier. I now want to go for a mortgage. I want to go see, before I even go for that mortgage, I want to see my credit report, right? Is that something I really want to do?
Well, I have a chat with people. So I ask them the 3 fundamental questions. Do you work? Do you have a source of income? Do you have assets? Do you have any credit issues? Those are like the 3 fundamentals. And, you know, I said, you know, you have to be honest. It's like with your kids. You know, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, because I can't fix it if I don't know what it is.
Right.
But if you tell me, then I can at least have a jumping point, and we can figure out what it's going to take to get you a loan. Because some people get worried. I have a lot of medical bills. Okay, don't even worry about it. Just go ahead and apply. I just go down the list: charge-offs, collections, repossessions. Those are going to be the high ones. Judgments, liens. So, you know, you talk through with the client. You have to. That's why working with somebody that you trust and you know is so important, because you really want to get to know them. I don't want to just take an application. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to find out what is going to help you, what is going to be best for you as the client in buying a home. We all want a $500,000 mansion, right? But that may not be what's going to be best for you. So you figure out what is going to be best for the client. And by doing that, you have to have that interview process, the phone call, the in-depth, I need to know what's going on, good, bad, ugly. And then from there is where I can tell them, okay, you know, you can go to annualcreditreport.com, pull all 3 tri-merged credits just like I would. It's going to show you everything. I can look at that for you on the side without pulling your credit, because you can pull your credit without it affecting your credit score. If I pull your credit score, it does reflect as a hard pull. So it just depends where they're at, you know, and how close they are to purchasing.
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said. It's not just about using a professional. It's about using a professional, in my opinion, that you can look at face-to-face. Because when you take, and I hate to say it, some of these loans that you can get online, okay? So when you type it in, Mary looks at it, and then Sam looks at it, and if there's an issue, you got to talk to Fred, who doesn't really know what Mary or Sam said, and
it's a call center with round robins, and they're just reading notes. They don't really know you as a person.
And in every, you know, everybody says your house is the most expensive thing you'll ever get, but it's not. Try having kids. Okay, house is your second most expensive thing.
There we go.
But for me, if I want to do something, I need to see the person. So that if I have an issue, I know I can talk to that person. They know what's going on because I met them face to face. They have all the information. It's housed in one spot basically, and they don't have to go to Fred and Mary and Joe to get it figured out. That is a time issue, and I guess in life a lot of things are about timing. You know, real estate is like this. It's extremely cyclical, and in my opinion, if you're buying a primary residence you almost will never, ever, ever, never, ever lose money. You just have to wait a little bit longer. It'll come back.
Yes.
So I call you up and say, hey, I want to buy a house. What's my next step with you?
That's where I go through my interview process. I want to get to know you. I want to know what you're, what you're trying to accomplish. What is in your world of buying a home is, because it is a very complicated process, and you need someone who's going to coach you and walk you through it, and not just write down numbers and write down information. I need to know that it doesn't affect your lending ability and it doesn't affect your loan, but I want to know if you have kids. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know how your boating was on the weekend. I want to know what that person is like. And that's what you get when you're dealing with me. You get that process. But I go through the phone interview. I have a very, very honest conversation with you about what it's going to take, where you're at. The three important things: do you have a job? Do you have a source of income? Do you have assets? And what is your credit like? And then from there, you would go. We could meet. We can set up an appointment, meet, take an application. Some people want to do it online. Some people want to meet in person. It's, whatever they prefer. I tell people, whatever you want. I can do it over the phone. We can meet in person, or you can go online and complete the application. It's entirely up to your comfort level. So what do you want to do? I can come to you. You can come to me. You make it easy.
There's nothing more important to me than meeting in person, because you can get reactions from people and whatever. When it comes to social income, it's good to be older than dirt, because I have Social Security. Yeah, I only got one check. I'm only 65, okay? And I can't understand that somehow I'm on Medicare. I haven't figured that part out yet. But for me, this is such a major step in your life. I can't understand why somebody would want to type all their information on a computer, not know who they're talking to, and say, hey, look, I applied online, but I can't see. We all have backstories. Mm-hmm. There's very few that, in my opinion, that don't have something that is going to not always negatively affect their stuff, but we'll have backstories. Who are you telling your backstory to? A screen and a keyboard? You can't explain.
You can't convey that.
Right. So, not that you can change some of the things, but you can fight harder if you see somebody in person and know who they are and what they're about.
Yeah, because my processor is local. My underwriters are local. So we're not dealing with mysteries. I'm not dealing with, when you're a mortgage broker, you're not dealing with the same underwriters. You're not dealing with the same processors, because you're a person, you're a company, and you're giving it to another person in another company, and who knows who they're sending that to. So you've got several layers where the connection becomes fragile and broken. So it's like a rope, you start fraying it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. By the time it gets somewhere and it needs help, it's not strong enough to hold the weight. So when you're dealing with somebody local and they have local underwriting, local processing, I know my processor, I call him up, I'm like, hey Nick, this is the story on this is what the deal is, I need you to, and then he's like, oh, okay, because you can't convey that. Even me, as a professional who's been doing this for a long time, I still can't convey everything in a computer. I can't explain every single thing in a computer. So I have to be able to pick up the phone and call my processor and explain things sometimes. And then, he's like, oh, okay, I got it. So you have to have those connections. You have to have people that answer their phone, that want to listen, who want to take care of you, and who want to help you.
All right, we're getting to the top of our time. How do people find you? You have a website?
I do. It's reginaloansfl.com. And my cell phone number.
Oh, yeah, right. We're in the world of technology, so we don't use office phones anymore.
I know, there's no office phone.
It's your cell phone. Believe it or not. But okay, what's the number that you can reach you?
561-254-9091.
Guys, I'll say it again. Use a professional. Check Regina out. Check the company out. Do a little research about these Credit Karma and stuff like that, because look, I've been around a long time and I didn't know, so I won't go there anymore. I'll go to, what's the other one where I can get my credit?
Annualcreditreport.com will give you your free annual credit report once a year, and it allows you to look at it and make adjustments and get it resolved in a timely manner.
And it's not a hard hit on your credit?
It's no hit on your credit.
Everybody check them out. Regina, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed
it. Everybody have a great day, and we'll be right back.
Bye.